You want to grab those things for me? Thanks.
I got them.
It's zoomed in, so I've seen all your boogers. There's still snow. I wonder if my garage is flooded today. Nope. In fact, a lot of my coolant dried up too. Welcome back, boys. It's gotta be spring, because ugh, there's water on the floor. I was coming out here all excited and stuff, and now we got this. Shit, now I gotta deal with that first. Anyways, that water's pumping out. I have a little pump thing that I just have to pump out through the door. It's mainly because there's ice buildup on the door, and then this stuff from the eaves comes down and it kind of hits the ice and comes in the door. It only happens sometimes. Anyways, we got some China Bay fuel rails. See, it even says LS1 in Chinese. So we were gonna run these fuel rails, and I was gonna build a janky ass system. But then, Logan from Clapped Out, really funny YouTube, like super underrated YouTube channel, also works at BTR, and he was like, hey, why are you running that stupid ugly truck manifold? We can't have that. And so he's sending me an equalizer manifold with rails. So I won't have to use these rails now. Well, first things first, we gotta get our belt set up again. So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna cut this bracket off right here, and then we're gonna cut a bit of these legs, and then our belt should line up this way. And then you can route the belt differently. I had it over this pulley, under this pulley, and up over this one, but you can actually go over this one, under the water pump, and then up to the alternator, but you just have to build a bracket to move this pulley right here. So then you go down under the power steering, up over this pulley, and then down around the crank. Sadly, we have to take our power steering off, which means we're gonna lose our power steering fluid, but I think it's gonna be a worthwhile trade-off to get that done out of the way now. So we build a bracket from here to here and use these bolts, and then you have to cut this mount off too, because this mount is gonna be in the way when we get our new intake manifold anyways. Oh my God. Hey, shoo! So like I said earlier, this pulley needs to go somewhere around here, and it has to be the same, on the same plane as these two pulleys. So it actually has to be spaced out a little bit. We don't have much metal around here, but I think I'm gonna use a piece of this hitch right here, because it's pretty thick steel on the end there. And that's what we're gonna use to build our little bracket. It's gonna be 2 bolts here, and then the triangles down a bit, and then this bolt is gonna go right there. That only took forever to cut, and it's really hot. I can feel it through my gloves, but when you're in a pickle and you don't have the right materials, we do with what we got around here. This is a little bit bent, which is weird, but it's probably bent because that's how it was on the hitch. Or maybe it's bent because I grinded it so much, but we're gonna use what we got around here, and this will work. So we're gonna do our best to get the center of these holes. Zero that out. We got 3.154. So we're gonna center punch. So we'll start. I've said this a couple times now, I really want to get a drill press. It would make things like this a lot easier. However, I just don't have a drill press. It's pretty simple actually. I just don't have one. Put my safety glasses on. Oh yeah, of course. Break my drill bit. So this step drill bit in the past like 2 months has been my savior because I've been using it for like pretty much everything. So it was worth the $20 investment or whatever it costed to get it. The only thing with this step drill bit is I learned that the end gets dull pretty quick. So always do a pilot hole first and then just use it to bore things out. So that's why I put my hole first, and then we'll use this just to bore it out. My hair's gone all wacky, man. I was supposed to be sexy on camera today. Now let's see how close we got with our center punch. This will be the moment of truth when you realize how shit I am at measuring things, because these holes are like the exact diameter of this bolt, and I measured them to be the exact center of these holes, which means this should fit, but it's probably not going to. Oh my God, I measured something for once and it fits. That was so weird. Now we need our pulley.
Yep, right exactly there. It's right here.
I think we got it, tapped it out for the right size apparently, because it's going on there. If this doesn't hold, we can always just weld a nut to the back side of this. I think this will be fine though, maybe. Now what we gotta do is we have to bolt it up and then find the plane that we need this at so we can space this out. We're likely going to need some new bolts, I think, for this plate, but we'll see. So we'll just prop this up here. We'll put our plate on how we had it. Another bolt, I think I left it over there. Now this one goes on here. One way we can find our plane is get a flat edge something. So we're a bit off there. This needs to be spaced out a whole bunch. So I think we should just put spacers behind this piece to get it where we need it. Well, that's what I'm gonna do. We also need to cut this ear off right here too. Right here. Which I should probably do first. You think I'd be smart and take my brand new alternator off? Nope, probably not. Put this back on now with our new bracket. Okay. This has to be spaced really far out. So we just used a spacer in the back here, spaced it out a little bit, and hopefully that works. We'll put our alternator on and see if we can just route the belt approximately where it goes without this tension on right now. Of course that never wants to go on. Good thing we got the hammer. Oh boy. I think we're way off. I think our spacer's too big. We need to be a bit closer because the alternator actually is way back from this. Look at our belt here. So we come under the water pump, up over the alternator this way, and then back over this tensioner, and then back down to the crank. And we're gonna need a longer belt. I mean, it could go a little bit closer, but I don't think it's gonna track that bad. So next up, we gotta grab our shitty ass tensioner wherever it went, back here. We have to cut this one too, down to length, so it fits back in here. That's just temporary for now. I do realize, well, I've been told that this spring one pops belts off all the time under high RPM, so we'll eventually get one that's lockable. But for now, we're just gonna run this thing because I just wanna get like wanna get it running, find out if we have any issues, and maybe boost it up to like 5-6 pounds of boost for now. Just to find the bugs is basically what I wanna do. Like that water pump bullshit that we had to do. Okay, we got this in. Our belt is definitely way too short now, so we'll wait to go get another belt. I'm gonna have to measure this one out anyways. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take some time and I'm gonna clean up my brake lines that I just had haggard around that I need to tie up. So I'm gonna do that first. I'm gonna tie up these lines and then I might build a small exhaust here so we're not running out of out of the hood here and we can put our hood back on. That's my current plan. I'm gonna be under the car for a little bit here, so I'm not gonna turn this on. So, I don't know, this is like this is like a masturbation session delay. All right, so we ran out of self-tapping screws, so the brake lines are gonna have to wait a little bit until we go to the hardware store when we pick up the belt. We'll get those at the same time. Right now, we have actually 3 mandrel bent 90s, and then we have 3 feet of straight pipe over there. And we're going to try and build something that resembles coming 90 from here, I think. Might move this line a bit. 90 down to here, underneath this thing, and out in front down here, and then come straight out the front through the bumper over here. We're gonna have to cut this and trim this, but that's what we're gonna start on. We might have to start pie cutting this first section to make it a tight radius, but we'll see. New plan. We're gonna go this way, close past the wastegate here, because the wheel is all the way up right now. I actually have the jack underneath the AR, so we have tons of room there. And we're gonna go this way, and then towards the front. That way, we're not trying to mess with all this over here, and the exhaust is tucked away this way. So what I'm doing now is I'm gonna start making some pie cuts to get us a nice tight radius bend here. So this was just my test pie cut piece, and now I'll go make some more. These are gonna have to be cleaned up because I'm doing it with the chop saw. I don't have a bandsaw, unfortunately. So yeah, all these burrs. I don't know if I'm doing pie cuts right, but I have a scribe line on the bottom and then one on the top, exactly 180 degrees from each other. So I'll cut it once this way, and then I'll flip it over and I'll cut it once this way. And my thing is set at like 7 degrees, so I should have 15-degree pie cuts in theory, I think. That's the way I'm doing it. I don't know if that's the way you're supposed to do it or not. I'll give it a shot anyways. I mean, that kind of looks like a pie cut. It's this thick on the inside, that cut thick on the outside. Now, one thing I didn't take into account is how tight this radius is even going to be at these angles. It doesn't look like it's going to be enough. So I think I'm going to have to go a steeper angle than this. I managed to make 4 identical test pieces. The angles cut are roughly 10 degrees on each side, so it's like a 20-degree bend. I didn't clean out the inside yet. I did Dremel out or sand off the outsides. I'm trying to put them together for you. This is kind of what we're looking at for a bend radius. And if I put it on the car, oh yeah, it's definitely way tighter. I'm gonna clean up the insides now, and then I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tack them all together in this 90 formation. And then I'll test fit it on the car. So we're gonna get set up for welding here. I actually, I have 2 tungstens here sharpened at both ends. So when I do dip them, I don't have to go back over and sharpen them. I'm just gonna flip them around and then switch them out. So thanks whoever gave me that tip to sharpen a whole bunch of tungstens at once. I'm just gonna tack weld these up. I don't think I'm gonna back purge them this time because it's like post turbo. It's not gonna matter if there's a bit of slag on the inside. This doesn't really get that much heat, so I'm not gonna waste any argon by back purging this. I'm just gonna weld it up regularly. But we're gonna tack these together and hopefully we get a good result. So turn this on, and we're gonna have to go back to stainless on this side, and this is probably going to be like, actually, I can tell you. The rule of thumb usually would be, so the rule of thumb is the thickness 1 amp, so 60. So yeah, roughly 60 amps. Put the camera right there. We did a thing. However, I don't think it's that much tighter radius than our other one is. Oh, it's a little bit tighter. That's the difference. It's a little bit tighter. We might need an extra piece or two on this one. So let's go, we'll put it on where we want it. Yeah, so we still need more. We need another couple more bends. Because we want it to go somewhere right here. So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut a couple more pie cuts a little bit tighter. And we're gonna try that. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave, you see how much gap I left on the bottom part here on the inner radius? I think I'm gonna make that a little bit tighter too. Hey, this is what we got so far. I'm actually kind of pretty proud of it. It looks pretty cool. Wee. We're gonna test fit it up in the car real quick, and if it fits, actually, I think I have to cut this last one off actually. Yeah, I gotta cut this last one off. So we're gonna fit in here like this, and it's gonna go directly between where the wastegate sits and where that flange is. So I'm gonna weld this up totally. And then that's where we're gonna start when this cools down. Now that's the right color we're looking for. We're getting a little bit better at this welding thing. Yeah. I noticed something I'm really bad for doing is I would actually tip the torch this way, and I think I blow all my shielding away from the weld, and it comes out like shit. Because this actually cools the weld, whereas if this is leaving everything that I've just welded not exposed to argon while it's still hot. And I think that's half of my problem. And then I was doing this one and I done fucked up just the inside, so I had to take this piece off so I could reach the inside, but I still fucked it up. So I'm leaving that sit for a minute and I'll think about it. But I mean, that one joint here looks really good. And then this one I had too much heat, so I fucked it up, and then I learned on this one. There's just gonna be a lot of practice, I think. It's still fun, but we're getting there. Whew, so that welding part took a lot longer than I thought it was gonna take. Still practicing my welding apparently. I'll show you what we got here. It's probably still a little bit hot. So, filling the hole right here, I got like really good at that. Until we got to the back side, and I blew a couple holes in it, and I didn't have enough parent material. I left too thin a gap on my pie cuts, so that messed up. And then the rest was just welding practice, basically trying to butt join. I blew a couple holes in a couple spots, but overall, it's gonna be fine. It's gonna work. So we'll bolt this up and we'll see where we are with that now. I'm sure you can hear my pump going in the background there. And it's just pumping the water out as it's coming in, because it's trickling in. Ooh, that's hot. It's trickling in a little bit around the edges of the garage from the snow melting. It'll happen for a day or two. And the easiest way is just to pump it out as it's coming in. Unfortunately. I gotta stop grabbing it by where I just welded. It's pretty hot. Anyways, here we are. This is as far as we got here. It looks a lot better than if I was gonna run it back inside the bay and then down through here anyways. The tire is actually jacked up right now. Most of the way anyways. We're gonna keep it tight in here though, close to the wastegate to hopefully won't have any issues there. Yep, bird turd welding. Anyways, I spent a lot of time on that exhaust part. It's 4 o'clock now. I have a date night with the chickie at 5:30, so that's kind of it for this video. But I've been out here since 8 a.m., so I put in 8 hours of work to make this probably 4.5 minute video. Now I knew that I wanted to drive it this video, however, I didn't want to drive it without a hood. It's too much of like a, hey, pull me over kind of deal. So we're just gonna finish the exhaust up, put the bumper back on, the lights back in, we'll get the hood on, and we'll drive it properly. There's no need rushing it. The snow's melted now, pretty much, so I can put the summer tires on it, and then we'll go out and we'll launch it once and we'll destroy the rear end in this thing. So thank you guys for sticking around. I really appreciate you guys. Peace easy. Get that V. When we come back, we'll finish our exhaust because there was a lot more work into welding those pie cuts than I thought there was gonna be. I'm really not efficient at welding, so it doesn't help either. Love you.